per year from one client. So the reason why it's like really influential, right, is because when I first got started in my accounting and bookkeeping business, I thought the most people would want to pay me is about $450 per month, right? So it really influenced the way that I went about growing my business, the way that I talked to people, and what I expected that my earning potential was from the business, right? I was just happy that if I could, maybe one day pay my bills, like get to like 5 grand a month in my business, and I could just coast there, like I'd be good, right? I didn't have very high expectations because like for the first 6 months, I was unable to get clients. People just weren't really willing to work with me. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how to price out my service properly, as the $450 per month price would suggest, right? So a lot of this stuff, if I knew it, if I had had it when I first got started, it would have made my journey a lot easier. Now, I'm going to ask you in a couple seconds for you to like kind of engage. So I'm basically going to ask you a couple of questions. So I'm going to say, like, if you're watching this thing live, type in hashtag team live, right? And I'm going to make this more interactive. If you type in hashtag team replay, because you watch this thing on the replay, I'm actually going to give you a gift that you can use to go and grow your business. Now, the reason why I'm asking for you to do it is because the more people that comment, like, and share this post, the more people that are going to see it. I'm not charging you for some of the secrets and information I'm talking about in these videos, right? So one way you can say thank you or pay me is by liking, commenting, or sharing, because then I get more people to see my stuff, and then more people like me, more people want to sign up for my programs and various things like that. So I'm not charging you for this, so if you could help me out, that'd be awesome. Also, maybe even watching some of these videos for any amount of time, whether it's 1 day or 1 year, and you want to go and grow your business, like maybe even trying, but it's just not quite working the way that you want it to, or the speed with which you want it to, right? If you want some help, go ahead and click the link inside the description. Book a call, see if our mentorship program can be the one for you. Put in a link inside the description. Cool. So let's jump into this thing. So number one, being able to charge people more money, whether it's 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4, 5, whatever the $1,000 per month is, it comes down to not being afraid if the potential client says no. So a lot of people know they should be charging more, but they're just nervous that if they actually do ask for the right amount of money, then the business owner will be, will be like, no, that's too high. I don't want to do it. And like, to be honest, if you're pricing the way that you should be, people are going to say no to you. Like, that's normal. That's good. If you're getting too many people, if you're closing like 90%, 95% of the people that speak to you say yes to your price, you're undercharged. And that is a strategy, right? Because you could undercharge, and like 1 year or 2 years later, you could try and raise the price, and hopefully they'll still stick with you. I prefer to do things right from the start. So I charge an appropriate amount of money. Okay. It's okay if someone says no. Remember, confidence comes from choice. Oftentimes, when most people are getting started, there's a lot of scarcity. Like, you don't think you're ever going to be able to get another consultation call, or you have to go and get this person to say yes. Oftentimes, it's kind of tied down to like our ego and like how we feel about ourselves, right? So it's like, if someone says no to me, I feel like I just got rejected. When I feel like I got rejected, depending how many times I've been rejected in my life, it hurts, right? And it just feels kind of like, oh my gosh, they don't believe in my skills. They don't believe in me. I need to go get more certifications. I need to go learn more and more stuff, right? But when you know in your heart that you're going to think about it logically, there are 30.1 million business owners inside the United States. If you're in Canada, there's a lot of businesses too. I think it's like 15 to 20 million as well, right? And out of those, there's no reason why you can't get 50 to 100 people on a consultation call over the next 3 years. That gives you a lot of leeway, right? Because let's say that your goal is just to make 10K per month. You only need 20 businesses that pay you $500 per month in order to get to $10,000 per month. With that many targets, that many options for it, there's no way you can't go and get 50 to 100 people on consultation calls. It's just maybe you don't have the right skill set of marketing to attract those people, or the right, 50 to 100 people right away. And we'll talk about that in a minute, right? But you're going to have a lot of consultation calls, right? So don't be afraid for someone to say no. It's okay if they say no. A lot of people that actually are going to work with you are going to tell you no at some point inside of your sales process. Sales process basically means from the time that you meet someone to when they pay you, right? So maybe you're going to say like, hey, do you want to get on a call, see if I can help you? They're going to say no. Okay. Then you're going to be on the consultation call 3 months later, a month later, or a day later, and then you're going to say your price. They might say no. and then they come back. Most people come back, right? If you've done your consultation call properly, if you have a good messenger script when you're LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever to get people even on the phone, people will generally come back because you're building a relationship, right? So the way we kind of teach you guys to do marketing is to build relationships. The reason why it's so important is because when people see you on the same plane, they tell you the real truth, right? The hardest part about like getting clients is not necessarily that people don't want to sign up with you, it's that they might give you a false positive of why they don't want to sign up with you. So, for example, they could say, I need to think about it. And if you just think, okay, people just need to think, it's not really the real thing. Maybe it was that they just didn't value your service at the price point you're talking to, which suggests that you need to change the way you're doing your script. Maybe they had to go speak to their partner because their partner is the actual one who makes the decisions, but they did not want to lose face by telling you that they couldn't actually make the decision. Maybe they had a certain budget for this year, but they're very close to the budget and they're afraid that if they spend any more, they're going to go over budget, and they just really don't want to do that. But if they just tell you, well, you got to think about it, or if they give you a fake objection because they don't want to hurt your feelings, or they don't want you to kind of objection handle them, it causes you not to be able to actually go because then you think, oh, people just don't want to work with me, right? I need to go get more experience. I need to go back to school. I need to go and get another QuickBooks certification or advanced certification, right? When that really wasn't the case, right? So by learning how to have a consultation call correctly and by getting them to really tell you what the true objection is or the true reason why they're not starting with you, it causes you to be able to have more conversations where you help them overcome that concern or that thought, and then they end up wanting to work with you 3 months, 6 months, 12 months later, right? If you ever look at like a lot of the students out of the mentorship program, it might seem like it's easy for them to get clients. It is easy for them to get clients, but not for the reason why you think. Most people think that they're going to start a business, they're going to talk to, we'll say, 100 or 10 people, or they're going to go to a network event where there's like 100 people in the room. They're going to say, hey, I'm a bookkeeper, or I'm an accountant, or I'm a CPA, right? And then they're going to have like 20 people reach out and want to work with them. And then they think out of those 20 people, they're going to get 5, 10, 15 clients and be overwhelmed. That's not generally how it works. Generally, how it works is there might be a pool of 100 people, but out of the people, generally only 3 people are ready to work with someone at any given time. That means like they'll work with a stranger. They don't care. They just have a burning desire, a burning problem. It means they're willing to give you money right now. The other 97% of the people are still left, right? So that means you might get 3 clients, but you can't be butthurt by the 97. Out of those remaining 97, probably about 7 to 10% are just never going to buy from anybody. Like they just won't, right? But there's still about 80% of those people that are potentially open to wanting to work with someone. So what that means is you have to be able to develop relationships with the other 80%. It's almost like like kind of in dating, right? There are some people that like they're really feeling bad, maybe they just broke up with their partner, and then they go to a club and they whoever they meet that they're attracted to, they go out with, right? But most times people need to like know more about you, like, hey, where'd you grow up? How'd you grow up? What are your beliefs? What are your values? Do we have similar hobbies? Do we have things in common? There's a lot more factors they have to consider before they make the decision to go with you long term. It's the same thing with their business, right? So it's kind of like a lot of people, they get very upset because like only 3 people want to work with me. It's like, well, yeah, those are people that were going to work with you no matter whoever just walked the door, no matter what, they're going to work with that person. But the majority of business owners need to go and get to know you better, right? So by having these longer conversations, it might feel like you're going slower, not because you're not getting a million clients right away. It doesn't look very impressive. But when you look back over the course of the year, you're like, I made that much money? How did I make? I'm at 11 grand a month? How did that happen? Another pro tip is if you're running your business, make sure you're doing your bookkeeping so you know how much money you're making. I had a student in my program last year. He came on a call. He was very frustrated. He's like, oh, I need to be making more money, man. When am I going to be at 10 grand a month? He wasn't like mad at me or anything. He was just saying it just kind of out loud. So I was like, well, how much are you at now? He goes, I don't know. I'm like, well, why don't you know? He's like, he just kind of started stammering. So I said, can you homework for today? while we're talking to other people on this call, can you go and look at your numbers? So he basically kind of ran some of his numbers, saw his bank balance. He was actually doing about $11,200 per month in sales, and it had been 90 days since we started working together. And he was just like, "Oh." So oftentimes it doesn't feel like you're making success when you're doing the right things. It just kind of naturally happens, right? Because as you're kind of growing a business, you're using a lot of statistical processes, right? So like how we kind of talked about, like most people don't even know 3% is ready today, 80% is like malleable or you can shift them. Most people don't even know that. I didn't know that. I just thought everybody, if they had a need, they would just buy, right? I was like, okay, you want this thing, you say that you need it. Why don't you? I have it here, just buy it. And it wasn't until I started understanding like it's more of a game of statistics where it's very important for me to go, right? And then I can start really doing the math and making the math work in my favor. Like we talk about, some people are gonna say no, but they're gonna come back to you, right? They're gonna say no, then they come back to you. And you have this pipeline that you're building every 3, 6, and 12 months. So you always have money coming in the future and new clients coming in, even when you stop marketing, because maybe you get like busy with your work, or maybe you just have a lot of clients, you're doing all the work yourself, but you're still getting new revenue coming in from past work and from past effort that you put into it. Now, a good example of this, right? When it comes to like marketing, a lot of people they're thinking that I have my little bow and arrow. I'm gonna be shooting my bow and arrow after I get done with this call with you. You know, basically, it's like most people think it's like a sniper rifle. They're shooting like a bow and arrow. You take one, boom, you see one, you hit one, right? But business is actually more about casting a net, right? You're gonna catch a lot more fish because you just basically say, okay, so these are kind of the place in the pockets where I know that potential clients are going to be. All I have to do is just put my information there, build my relationships here, talk to these certain people, and over time, a good percentage of that 80 and 90% are going to end up wanting to work with you over time. That's how you really dominate like a niche, right? And when I say like a niche, you can even dominate a local market too, like that, because it's just like the longer people know you and the longer people talk to you, if you're doing the right things. Like if you're just kind of like there and just kind of like a fly on the wall and no one knows what you do, that's a little different. If you don't know what to say when you're actually in these environments, go ahead and just like I recommend you like join our program, right? Because we just tell you what to say. We give you scripts, we give you scenarios so you actually understand that whenever you're in front of business owners, you're able to really prepare yourself and be able to actually go and get them to want to work with you. But assuming that you're on your own, it's all about really just using the statistical process, getting in front of the right people, talking to people, making sure they understand like your beliefs, how you help people, what you've done in your past, like what's your track record. Do you have any clients or have you worked in corporate? If you've never worked in corporate doing accounting and bookkeeping, or if you've never had clients before, there are still ways that you can actually go in and talk about the skill set you have. It's just gonna be like very different, right? And we can kind of talk about how to do that as well. But that's the biggest thing, right? Because if you cast a net, it takes a lot of pressure off you, right? Mhm. I see Dana. Oh, hey, Dana. Good talking to you. I see you. Dana said relationship marketing is the truth. Yeah, me and Dano actually worked together a long time ago. Dano showed me how to build this Facebook group that you might be watching this thing from. So when we first started, this is even a good example. Everything in business takes a lot. It takes more time than what you would think, but it takes a lot less time than what you think as well. So like for me to build my Facebook group to about 30, I think it's like a 30, I'd like to say it's at 39,000 people. No, 30, it's at 36,900. So it's almost at 37,000 people. That only took like to get to about 25. It took us about like a year and maybe a year and a half, like maximum, right? But it's like most people only think in 30 to 90-day cycles. So it's like if anything takes more than like a month, people get frustrated and they like quit, right? If you just can handle not having the results you're thinking or looking for, just for a little bit longer, just for an extra 60 days, extra 90 days, an extra 6 to 12 months, you can have almost anything that you want, right? Within reason. Like you probably won't make like $10 million in 6 months. Maybe you can, but like the majority of people are not going to be doing it. But for you to get to your 10K per month goal and just be at six figures, that does not take a lot. You just have to do the right things and make sure you're doing the right quantities. Once you start getting good at that and you can be very consistent, then reaching your goals is very simple. So it's about skill sets, doing things correctly, having consistency, and having patience. When you have those four things, then reaching six figures becomes inevitable. Okay. Now, if you don't have the skill sets or if you don't know what the right things actually are, I invite you to go check out our mentorship program because that's where we teach people how to go from point A to point B. Generally, it's going to be someone that has maybe you're just getting started in your business or maybe you've been trying to grow your business, but just not quite growing the way that you want. If you want help, like maybe you're just tired of doing this stuff on your own. It's just not quite working, and you know that it should be like with the amount of skill set you have and with the amount of effort you're putting in, you should be making more. If that's what you feel that you should be doing, I just recommend you go ahead and check out our link inside the description. Book a call with myself or a member of our team, see if we can help inside of our program, right? We can't help everybody, but for the people we do help, we make sure that it's a very, very meaningful amount of money, right? Because I want to make sure that if you pay us money to join our program, we can take you to that promised land. We can take you to that goal and make sure you can live a life of freedom. So if that's you, if you want to see if you qualify, if you want to see if you're a good fit, go ahead and click the link inside the description. Book a call with myself or a member of our team, see if we can help you out, okay? Talk to you soon. Thanks for